Hi there, I'm Tom Field. I'm Senior Vice President of Editorial with Information Security Media Group. Delighted to be at the Healthcare Summit in New York City. More delighted to be speaking today with Chris Bowen. He is the founder, the Chief Information Security Officer with ClearDATA. And we're going to talk about the premise of his presentation today, which is about scaling defenses in the age of globalization. Chris, our first opportunity to be together since the pandemic. It's good to see you.
It's great. My suit still fits. I'm excited about that.
Getting used to wearing shoes again, but you know, that's a first world problem.
Absolutely.
So you're on stage today. Talk to me about the premise of your session, which is about how the cloud has really been the catalyst for modernization, and it has.
Well, we've seen some amazing things happen over the past couple of years, not only from the pandemic and being able to help with certain telemedicine initiatives, but many of our clients are engaged in remote patient monitoring, and we're even doing some financial data for health systems. People don't usually think about that, but it's a very important thing. Analytics, I mean, if you think about some of the on-premise strategies from a virtual machine and you know the burstability that you need to have for some of those workloads, it's very difficult in an on-premises world and less so in a cloud world. So the cloud is definitely leading the way in some of that innovation.
So it's all about data. And what does this modernization mean for all this data that we do have stored on-prem?
Well, on-premise data is largely siloed. If you think about the whole person and you think about giving the person a holistic set of care or continuum of care, if you've got data in one data center with one health system and it's not shared holistically with the place where the patient might be getting care, you may be treating half the patient. At ClearDATA, we believe that the data record, the health record, represents the human life. And so it has to be a holistic approach. One of the challenges, of course, is that it's not. And sharing data is a challenge across the industry. Interoperability is a challenge. And so we've got to get beyond that. We've got to get beyond the on-premise walls that we see the data siloed within.
Well, it's not just the complexity of the industry, it's the complexity of the world and the different regional issues and compliance regimens you have. How do you recommend organizations tackle this complexity of trying to be conformant with multiple compliance frameworks?
It's a passion of mine to figure that out. It's like three-dimensional chess sometimes.
Yes.
And I'm not very good at chess, but three-dimensional we can figure out. We like to go with the hardest framework first, just from a pure practical standpoint. What's the toughest one we've got to comply with? Whether that's GDPR, whether that's CCPA, or a whole different regime of regulations. Once we do that, and then we can map in some of the lesser stringent ones. HIPAA, for example, is less prescriptive, so we can layer that into a high trust approach. Then we go into the regional, and we say, okay, where's this data supposed to go? Where is it supposed to flow? And then we figure out the laws, the regulations, the standards that allow us to operate in a way that's compliant within that locality. We call that data locality planning. And it's very effective if you do it correctly. And if you don't, what they say in France is that prison will change a man. So.
And this is a moving target. This changes all the time, even within the U.S.
Yeah.
Just to try to comply with, I think we've got 5, 6, 7 different privacy.
It would be nice if we had one, wouldn't it?
It's not happening this year.
It's not happening this year, but someday maybe. There's a couple of bills afloat. We'll see what happens.
We'll be back here talking about that one. Chris, talk to me about scaling up one's cyber defenses. That's a challenge as well in this era of modernization.
It's a big challenge. If you think about the old way of doing things, it's writing rules, it's tuning firewalls, it's those kinds of things that are very reactive. In today's cyber world, you don't have time to do that. If you have a full reactive kind of mode, then you're going to be in trouble. And so you need to leverage things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, those kinds of countermeasures that can scale up with the attack surface. If you think about serverless technologies in a cloud environment, if you're bursting up a workload that's going to have to support 5 million enrollees in a health plan, and you're tuning a firewall behind that wave, you're in trouble. So having the technologies that are built for that built to scale with your cloud environment or scale down with your cloud environment, or even the ephemeral, those things that come up and then they disappear. How do you secure those? So you've got to figure that out. At ClearDATA, we specialize in doing that. We specialize in building that infrastructure as code, if you will, to meet that demand. The other thing we do is we have a policy engine as code, where we take not only the threat vectors and we deploy the countermeasures to the fleet of our customers, but we also layer in legal settlements, OCR enforcement actions, breaches from others that have made mistakes, and we layer that into our defenses as well to then automate and scale that.
So I'm going to ask you more about ClearDATA now. Talk about what you're doing to help your customers to step up to the cloud, because I realize this is still a new strategy for a lot of organizations. So to step up to the cloud and scale up their cyber defenses.
Yeah, we have a lot of great big payers that we work with. We have a lot of providers. The providers have a special place in our heart because they provide the care to the patient. Many times they will believe they can do it themselves, and they'll start the journey, and then they'll call us and say, can you help us remediate or fix this workload? We know it's not perfect. And so we will take those workloads, we will assess those workloads, we will then optimize, and then we will deploy them into a cloud environment that's meant for healthcare, that's tuned for healthcare, that leverages the behavioral heuristics of our hundreds of other healthcare customers who have learned, and we have learned, what attacks are coming and which attacks we can thwart before they even arrive, so that they can focus on innovation, so they can focus on giving that care to the patient.
Chris, I always enjoy our conversations. We've done some excellent virtual discussions. It's finally wonderful to be able to see you in person.
Good to see you in
much.
person too. Thanks, Tom.
The topic has been cloud modernization, and we just heard from ClearDATA's Chris Bowen. He is the founder and chief information security officer. For Information Security Media Group, I'm Tom Field. Thank you, as always, for your time and attention.